Greetings and salutations. Welcome to another episode of 365 Days of Gaming. I appreciate you taking our time to check out this video. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Much appreciated, so thank you in advance. But let's not delay. So, this game that we're going to talk about today, I've been wrestling with trying to do it for quite a while due to some technical issues, but more importantly because every version of this game has always made me extremely uncomfortable to where I can only play it for short periods of time. And I'm going to tell you a couple stories about it. So let's get into it. This is Resident Evil, in particular, the GameCube remake of Resident Evil. Now, the thing about this game that makes me so uncomfortable is, first and foremost, the original Resident Evil on PlayStation. The first time I played that, my older brother essentially tricked me into playing the game. Now, my oldest brother, Ron, was a electrical technical wizard, right? So before the days of sound bars and surround sound setups, he essentially created his own surround sound using stereo speakers and like an audio mixer and a PlayStation. And I still to this day don't know how he did it, but there's many other stories I can tell you about things he's done that I didn't understand how he did it. So like PlayStation games were like super cool in his room because the sound was coming from all the different sides and everything. And it was like, a really cool experience. So one day around Halloweenish, I'm like, we're in Ben Harbor. I'm like 10 years old. I go into his room. I believe he called me in and he's like, hey man, you want to play this game I just got? And I'm like, sure, what is it? He like, just play it. I already started it, just play it. Here's how you move. And I'm walking in the mansion and I don't know what's going on, but I know the game looks cool, but there's something off about it. It's a little creepy. I tried to go to the door and it was like, arr, arr, arr. And so, I'm like, all right, scary dogs. And then we get to one of the most, to me, famous scenes in survival horror history, video game history, where you come up on a gentleman who is having a bite. And the noises that game makes are so unsettling to me that I literally dropped the controller as a kid. And, of course I died. And he's laughing. And like from that point on, even though I went back and played the game, eventually beat the game and everything, it was like, man, this is an unsettling feeling. It's creepy. It's uncomfortable. It's scary. And then I'm in high school and my good bud Steven is like, hey, I got the Resident Evil remake for the GameCube, man. It looks so good. It's one of like the prettiest looking games. They got the, essentially for us at the time, high res backgrounds and everything like that. And I'm like, oh, bet it's Resident Evil. Now this is after I've played 2 and 3 and Code Veronica, so I'm in, And I get back to that same scene and I'm like, I can feel it. I can feel the emotion coming back. And it's just this game, I can only play this game for like 15 minute spurts. I remember him letting me borrow it and I'm like, I only play this game directly after school for like 15-30 minutes with like all the lights on and all the windows up and open with the sun shining in and playing like DMX in the background and try to keep myself hype. And it still didn't work, between all of the recreations of these legendary scenes, giant snake, adding the Lisa character. I mean, just crimson heads, everything. Just talking about it just makes me really, 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 really uncomfortable. So it's been a minute, it's been on the list for a while and I've been trying to bring myself to do it. And I was like, what, the people gotta know, So I said, what, we're gonna bite the bullet and we're gonna make it happen. So yeah, if you've played Resident Evil, you know what this is about. This is a remake of the PlayStation Classic. It kind of changes things a little bit to coincide with what happened in the series, things with Wesker, so things with Barry. So it was, definitely a different game than the original one, but for, obvious reasons, they had to kind of clear up the timeline after the original one, because then, as you go into 2 and 3 and you start to figure out all this other stuff that essentially was not originally planned for the series, they had to make the remake, make everything connect. And they did a great job. And, some of the things obviously still using, this is like the last tank control game, this and Zero, but it's much more fluid than the original Resident Evil 1. So like controls are improved. You know, the mobility of your character is definitely better. You got the quick turn with the C stick, things like that, you know, had you had that back in the day, would have helped you out tremendously. And, you know, it's just a overall better experience. It looks great. Even to this day, it still looks great. And they put it on PC with like HD texturization and all that things. But I just want to show you the GameCube version because I always thought this was a beautiful game. And this is one of the many reasons I felt like the GameCube was severely underrated. And again, this series will pay homage to the GameCube in multiple ways. So this is another way for me to do that. And also to overcome a fear. So I appreciate you watching this video while I overcome said fear. I didn't get too far in it because again, I'm fighting against myself as I'm fighting the game. Okay, so I wasn't gonna look up any walkthroughs or anything like that. I'm just gonna play it straight. I got folded a couple times and you know, you can see that in there as well. But I wanted to show you one of the most beautiful, but at the same time, unsettling games of my gaming journey, which is Resident Evil. Now, if you beat the GameCube version, or at least the remake version specifically, I'd like to hear what are your thoughts about it. Was it too creepy for you, but you made it through? Now, if you didn't make it through, but you did play this and you had the same reason as me, I understand. Eventually, I made it through it, but it took a lot of work, and a lot of time because, you know, I had to spread those sessions out. So, as always, appreciate you watching this video. Have fun, be safe. Peace.